Get out the insurance cards, get out the copays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by drroto.com.
Yo, everybody, it's Yo about it. So let's get to it. Bring the pain!
What's up, everybody? It's Heat Override, and I'm ready to bring the pain for you this week. Oh, yeah! How about that? I know it might have ran a little long, but you know what? Sometimes you get in these creative blocks, you just start making things look pretty, and you want to get it. Not like Brock Purdy, who got beat down last weekend, 2 weekends ago. But man, we're here to talk about the UFC 325, 324 went great. Dan is not in today. On top of having some unfortunate things happen yesterday to him, he had another thing happen for him today. So I'm saying a prayer for Dan. So Dan, I hope everything works out for you. I do miss you. This is actually the first time in probably a year I've done the Fight Club of Pain alone. So it's nothing different. Say Tuesday, January. Yeah, you're getting all wild up in here. So we're going to have some fun. We're going to be giving out free bets, free parlays. Of course, I'll have a soup can for you. It's not Dan's soup can, but Dan's dealing with kind of what he's doing right now. So that being said, of course, I'll have the Parlay of Pain for you this week. Man, money line went 3-2 in the Subs League Discord. The Parlay of Pain because I went aggressive, and Gene Silva's not getting a knockout. He literally passed up not getting a knockout to jump and surfboard a guy. I mean, that's cool. That's cool. I'm with you all the way and how it kind of goes in. This is a live show, people. And I just came off of a live show last night with 138 MMA. He had it on, and everything was kind of one of those things where I was real excited to be part of that. And it was also an honor as well, too, because I've watched a lot of his work. And he's kind of like me. He likes just writing a whole bunch of notes. But he likes talking fight theory. I got a chance to do that. And I got to do Steven's picks as well, too. Steve was a really cool dude to talk to. Just talk fights and everything. But, I don't have my fight guy today. I don't have Chef Dan cooking the soup. So I got a soup can for you. And his DFS price ain't too bad. And currently, he was still the dog. And it's going to be soup can awfully. We're just going to start off and give you, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to take a shot on him one, maybe two DFS lineups. It's worth a shot. I think that soup can awfully has a pathway to success against Yiza. Again, last night, as I was talking about on the podcast with 138 and Steven, that I love the way he scrambles. He likes to mix it up, but I feel that the elbow's close. So when Yiza shoots and lunges with his jab, because he has a lunge jab, that's going to get him close to Offley. Offley's going to be able to counter once inside with an elbow. If he knocks him, gets him down, it might be a long night for Yiza. I have that fight going over, but you know me, I always have money on the under, and that's kind of what we do. So, I mean, a lot of people new to the Fight Club of Pain and seeing what's kind of going on right now, That's exactly what we're going to be doing with. And also, you get DFS lineups. So last night, I gave out 2 distinct bets on the 138 MMA roundtable discussion and for UFC 325. And also, I gave out the DFS Hero lineup. Now, the DFS Hero lineup, we will actually give out right now. So if you haven't been over to DFS Hero, get over to DFS Hero, use code word DOC, get 20% off of your lineup, and you get this. Also, on top of that, if you want to run it back, get over to Dr. Roto, use code word WIN, and you will be our rich friend. What's up, Matt? How you doing, man? What? The guys just literally dropped a PGA podcast last night. They already had, or 2 nights ago, they already had an article or 2 hit for the PGA. Also, Kickman has been hot in the hockey side of things, DFS. So you want to get over there and get behind the paywall. If you don't want to go through the paywall, say football's your thing, and you just want to kind of get in, get to the subs only Discord. We're giving out lineups. We give out advice in there. And that's where I do a lot of my MMA work, because a lot of people just, and no matter how great our first year was doing the UFC at Dr. Roto last year, we still need a lot of people out there to like, follow, share, tell your friends. That's what's going on. And next week's going to be crazy, because next week our guy Juicebox Walker's fighting. He just got switched up, man. He's got Dustin Jacoby. That's going to be a battle, but I'm still going to, I'll have to talk about that fight. We all know I'm taking Juicebox in that fight, but you have to understand why I'm going to take Juicebox in that fight, what the meaning, the significance of a fight like that will be. But this is a huge card, talking about the significance of Lopes and Volkanovski. His legacy doesn't have to ride on this fight. He already cemented that last time when he beat Diego Lopes. Now it's time for Lopes to shine. Unfortunately, he is one of the hardest tests in front of him again, taking on a man that not only beat him, but learned his style. But I'll get to that fight. Of course, that's the main event. That was going to be the covered fight that Dan and I was going to cover. At the same time, I want to make sure we are always mostly live unless something happens, or let's say like tomorrow, I have a tournament. So I will not be that active in the subs only Discord. The good news is that I have a small hernia, so I will not be fighting as much at the beginning of this year. But you can best believe by the end of the year, I will be champion. Also, so that means it just gives me a little time to work on my katas and try to work towards my eventual goal of being a black belt. Those are called goals. During those goals, of course, fighting and learning fight and being able to help other fighters, young fighters, get better is what we do at karate and what people do in the UFC. So that's a big thing, and that's a big part of the fight theory. That's the part of the show I'm definitely going to miss, because I don't have somebody to go back and forth with. But if all you people out there got a question about some of the other fights, of course, we already had Aaron Tao and Namsarai Batibayar canceled. Oh, man. I had that fight scheduled for violence. Violence, people. Somebody was getting knocked out. It was going to happen, believe me. And we were discussing that a lot last night as well, too. But let's just get to it. And if you want a lot of my picks, that's the show. That podcast I did with 138 MMA and Steven's picks, that show right there has actually all of my official picks. I never give out my official picks. Only to the Fight Club I give out my official picks, because it's just the way it is. You got to get behind the subs only Discord or the paywall. That's it. And if you're feeling jacked up, I'm going to be getting this. I got a container over there of Dubby Energy. I am definitely about to get it tomorrow. I'm going to go out there and put on some of the best katas. My weapons form last year was the top, was one of the top. I finished third at the very end because I lost that last match, but that's all right. I would have finished first, and it didn't happen. But regardless, I did finish first multiple times in the calendar year. So it did earn me a spot and an award. But we're not here to talk about me. We're here to gamble. We're here to be semi-degenerates and just try to put some money up and get that. And that's what we got on these fights. So let's just start it off. Let's start off UFC 325. Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopes. Ooh, yeah! Woohoo! I mean, I guess with Dan on here is not good. What's up, Adrian? How you doing? You ready to win some money today? I'm ready to win some money today. Tomorrow, I'm ready to win some. I'm ready to win some gold, and I'm ready to come home and win some money. And then I'm gonna take that money, and I'm gonna win money next week, and then I'm gonna win money on the Super Bowl. And you have to make sure you stay tuned to Dr. Roto. The Super Bowl show is big. Now that we got all that away, hopefully I haven't bored all you. Let's get to it. In the first fight, we have the gutsy Australian. Ooh, yeah, it's Quillen Selkin versus Jamie, a bunch of malarkey. That's exactly what it is. What is actually crazy about poor old Mr. Malarkey here is Malarkey's face is actually starting to get smushed in. It's getting smushed in, people. It's getting punched in, people. Dude, this guy leaves every fight practically bloody anymore. This guy's getting knocked out, right? But we'll run through the nose since I don't have it. I could probably pass this up. Hey, Dan, talk about it. Dan's going to be like, Malarkey's going to get his whipped. And I'm going to be like, Dan, hell yeah. But this is why it's going to happen. Malarkey's not going to try to shoot on Quillen. He's going to lose that battle. So he's going to try to get in a striking match. And we already know Quillen's younger, faster, stronger, and he's not a soup can. So that being said, we'll get to the numbers. Distance, no. 800, negative 800. Ouch. But knockout? Negative 165? Okay, you could count me out all day with that one. I'm playing that. Sub plus 230. Now, we'll get to some of those too. Under 1.5 rounds is a negative 166 at the time I wrote this down. Now, if we go over to the Malarkey side, if out of some strange reason, while he's getting his face beat in, a piece of blood flies off of Malarkey's face and hits Salkid in the eye, causing Salkid to squint, thus leading to a Jamie Malarkey knockout. Money line in distance, no, because there's no way this is going to go. Maybe I'm wrong. No way it's going distance. Is a plus 823. If Malarkey was actually able to beat Salkid, I feel it's going to happen late. So at plus 5,000, a second to third round knockout is definitely worth a half unit. Dude, you throw $1 on that, you're winning $51, people. Like, we're talking just, if you just think whatever. But me, I didn't throw $50 on, I didn't throw $1 on that. I threw 50 cents because that's still $25.50. And for me, that's extra money. That will pay for practically, by this point of the card, you had already made your money. So I do like that. His decision no bet is 870. You know, if you take a quarter and throw it on all three of those, maybe you get lucky, right? Sometimes a bunch of malarkey happens. On the Salkid side, moneyline distance, no, negative 484. Ouch, man, that hurts. But knockout first and second round for Salkid is a negative 105. I'm hitting that with 2 units. Also, his sub first, second round is a plus 310. So I like that too. Why I'm going to actually hit the knockout is I feel that it's not going to have to go to the ground. So we're going to play that. So we're going to play the knockout with the extra units. We're going to play, if you want to be safe, go 70%, 75% on a unit for the sub. That way you'll still get your money back. You'll make way more money than you will on the other bet anyway. Play knockout sub for Kill It right there. That's my big play. And a knockout. So I'm playing knockout and sub. I'm playing knockout for both fighters. I'm playing sub for both fighters. I'm playing first and second round sub. And I'm playing first and second round knockout. But I guarantee you everything I always say on every one of my shows, I have a bet on. I ain't that guy. I am that guy. Yeah! Woo! Ha ha! All right. It sucks that I don't have my partner in crime, my guy, Dan, for this next one, because we got a heavyweight fight. We got Taya Tuivasa versus Listen Teixeira. All right, we'll start out. Ty has one pathway to success in this fight, and it's to keep it on the feet and to box with Taliesin. Taliesin just got knocked out by Derek Lewis. And as I talked about last night on the show with 138 MMA and Steven, I saw why that happened. As a fighter and a striker, Taliesin went back. And if you look at Taliesin a lot, he does a lot of his long strikes and he puts his chin back. His chin is up, right? So when he aggressed Derek Lewis at that point and decided to actually do what he normally does, that's when that haymaker came over from Derek Lewis and knocked his ass out, right? So Teixeira did learn that. And there isn't really other than the tape that we have and watching him it last barely, a minute against Derek Lewis, that right there tells me that he needs to work on stuff. But between the two, I feel that he'll be able to win the points game. So significant strikes if you feel that this fight's going over. Unfortunately, when we get to the numbers, distance no is a negative 1,300. They know. Knockout, negative 450. Sub is plus 650. Taliesin Teixeira is most likely not going to take this down to the ground. But if he does, it's worth a half a unit if you want to throw it or just throw down a few dollars on that or $1 or 50 cents, whatever. Just kind of go with what you kind of got. Get crazy because on the Ty side, I've got his first and second round knockout at plus 370. So that's a half unit for me. Knockout in points, I don't think it's going, but it's just kind of just defending myself. Maybe he actually he takes Teixeira to deep waters and it becomes a boxing match and he ends up winning. Comes back, maybe he had a couple beers the night before, feels pretty strong, and he comes. Distance no bet is beautiful at plus 250. If that's all you play for Tai Tuivasa, then just play that. His knockout, straight up 320. I like it. But let's flip over to the Taliesin Teixeira side. Of course, under 1.5 rounds is a negative 270. Like it. Distance no bet. I love it. It's negative 360. I do love his knockout prop at negative 155 playing that. Round 1-2 knockout is negative 140 also playing that. I threw in a quarter of a unit on a sub, first and second round plus 850. And of course, I have sub and knockout, negative 250. Ha 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 ha. Hey, it happens. We did lose that game. The muff pump was pretty much the nail in the coffin, but we kind of do that. But it's fan space. You can hate LA all you want, but it's been a very long time that Seattle was actually in this position. It's been a very long time that Seattle finally kind of big boyed up and got over the Rams and the 49ers in a season. So always remember and be grateful for what you guys have, because it's been a very long time since you felt this good about your team. And I do like your team. As if you watched any of my football podcasts, which is what we're known for at Dr. Roto, seasonal and daily fantasy, you will know that I have said all season long for the seasonal teams that the Seahawks have been one of the best defenses in the NFL all year long. It isn't about the scoring. It's about just the tenacity of that defense. That comes from the coach. So I will not hate on the Seahawks. I love football as in general. So I hope that you like that comment. Back at you. But go Rams. We'll see you next year. Still got to get past the New England. And I said this also on my podcast. I'd rather y'all get served up for those Patriots rather than the Rams get served up again for the NFL to make a statement. Have fun with that game. But y'all should win. Go NFC. Let's get back to it. So what I like about that fight, of course, with Taliesin and you're running through everything, this is giving us a lot of opportunity to hit a lot of numbers and get that overall, as well as cover and also hedge as well. That's something that we try to take. Just don't put $100 on straight up knockout, because when that happens is when some dumb stuff happens and somebody gets subbed. So that's why we teach at Dr. Roto that you have to spread stuff up. That's why at the end of the year, and Dan and I have talked so much about the round robin. It's a little more money. It's a bigger investment. But the problem is that when the round robins, so when I went 3-2 on my money line round robin, I returned my money and then some. I went 2-3 on the Parlay of Pain and the five-tastic picks, and that right there alone, that returned 60 to 70% of my total investment. So I lost 30%. If you didn't just hear what I said, I hit on the money line, and then in the subs only Discord, the whole beginning of the fight, I just nailed. I had a three-leg parlay plus 834 to start the night off with those three finishes, and that right there was more than enough money to win the rest of the night. So that is what we teach at Dr. Roto, and that is why I say round robin, because I not only hit that three-leg parlay at plus 834, I also hit the round robins that went with it as well. So that's, again, what we talk about. So in this fight, of course, you guys already knew I was taking Quillen Salkid. I want to say, too, round one knockout for the Quillen. I know I'm backtracking a little bit, but I have everything kind of jumbled because it was kind of tight on this page. Round one knockout for just the entire fight is a plus 200. So if you don't want to go with any of those numbers and you just don't feel safe and you say the knockout going past is a negative 165, play the knockout, negative 165, and then run over to first round knockout and get your money back. Also, if there's a finish in the first or third round, is a negative 185. I bring these up for a big reason because these are ways to win bets, and you have action on both fighters. It's plain and simple. Now, a lot of sport books are different. I did see Jacob happy as hell that his betting site now allows him to parlay prop bets. I've been talking parlay prop bets for a long time. I think sometimes I talk so much about this, a lot of you out there might not have those same options in your state, and then you can't find them, and it kind of makes some of my content irrelevant to you because you can't use that in your state. And for that, I will apologize, but try to do it. And that's why being in the subs only Discord, we don't have prize picks here in Pennsylvania. So people put their prize picks, MMA stuff in there sometimes. It allows me to see what those numbers are, compare it, and help them win on their site. So that, again, is the benefits of being part of Dr. Roto. Could be our rich friend, right? Right here for any fantasy need. That's what I always say. So, of course, I'm taking Salkid. I'm taking Teixeira. Let's move along to what could possibly be, the main event's most likely going to be fight of the night. But let's move along to Rafael Fiziev vs. Mauricio Rubin. This fight tugs a lot of ways. As you know, I respect Fiziev because a fighter on my team has had interactions and some training from him from a long time ago. So he's always kind of followed his career, Muay Thai stuff. So that's our Gopri. And at the same time, I really love Mauricio because not only was he a fighting nerd, now he's an ex-fighting nerd. I also love his style. That's kind of like me. You send the jabs down the middle, and then you send the rear leg roundhouse, or even like he doesn't really do so much like the side kick all the time. But I have option because I'm a point fighter, karate fighter. So I have roundhouses from both legs. I have side kicks from both legs, hook kicks from both legs. I actually have a leaping hook kick I've not pulled out in a tournament. I cannot wait. It's kind of like one of those moments where I'm going to be fighting like someone tall because they're just not as fast as me. And I'm just going to, and they could do it. I'm going to step right off that line and I'm going to do that flying rear leg axe kick. Worst thing can happen is they blitz. They're going to hit my right leg, might fall down, but I never get knocked down in my fights. It hasn't happened yet. So that's a positive. I'm just surprised, but it'll happen eventually. But back to it. Whack, finishing move. Look and be. Take a picture of that, right? Mauricio has the highlight finishes. Fiziev is a dog. Fiziev is a dog. The fact that he went into that fight against the now champ Gaethje, and he not only improved from the first time he fought Gaethje, he almost won that fight. It was close, but he lost it near the end. Rufy isn't the guy to get in a fight like that. I have not seen that. Rufy's he's like a silent assassin. He picks his shots, he sends them down the line, and he hits with accuracy. Everything has a purpose. That's a thing that a lot of people don't have. There's a lot of things that would have probably helped people in that round. Thug Rose fight last week. Of course, a lot of people thought Thug Rose did win that. I thought she won it. Guess the first round went So that's just the way it goes to Silva. So that's the way it is. But for me, Rafa stepped up in his last fight. And I was talking with, and this is almost a similar fight because Bahamundes uses a lot, it has a similar style like Rufi with the legs and the kicks and the levels change. But I told my guy Pri, I said, if Rafa's going to win this, Rafa's going to have to get the takedowns. And he did. He got the takedowns. My prediction is if Fiziev can get four takedowns on Rufi, and this goes to cards, I feel there's a chance that Fiziev can win this fight. That being said, let's get to the numbers. Distance, no. 122. You know I love violence. I love violence. This is a striker's delight. Somebody's going down, right? What's kind of cool is that even the sub's plus 1,200. Now, I don't think Fiziev's going to go for the sub, but I just thought I'd definitely make it up. However, let's go over to the Rufi side. Knockout, plus 320. First and second round knockout, plus 420. Also, knockout in points, negative 120. Decision, no bet, negative 176. So if you want to play something, go ahead and play the decision, no bet. Play the knockout in points for negative 120, and you'll have your points covered. And then you'll have, if there's a finish, you'll get the knockout. You'll get your points in the knockout bet. And you'll also get the decision no bet at the negative 176. Moneyline distance no is a plus 232 for Rufi. Love it. I'm going to play that bet right there, right? Let's move along over to the Fiziev side. They definitely don't think that Fiziev can really do anything. But I'll tell you one bet that I really love in this. There's a bet for Rafa sub, Rufi knockout plus 260. I'm down. I'll throw a half unit on that. That's fun with me, right? Let's get moneyline distance no for Fiziev. Yeah, I'm saying no a lot, right? I said, I made my intentions clear, people. I want violence, right? Moneyline distance no, plus 330. Decision no bet, 135. 134. I love that. Knockout in points for Fiziev, plus 105. This fight is positive practically for both fighters. Let's get to his knockout, plus 480. Also, if you go with this right here, the 5th minute of any round finish is a plus 900. Because just like we saw last week, we had a couple finishes in the last minute. It's worth a shot sometimes. Put a quarter of a unit on that. Now, this is one of those fights, people, that everything is positive. The points on this fight was positive as well, too, when I made these bets. So, literally, I put a unit on knockout, I skipped sub, and I put a distance, no, 122, and then I rolled down to points, which was a positive, and I put money on that. You don't lose. You don't lose. If there's a knockout, you win. If there's a sub, you do lose. But most likely that's not going to happen. Again, at plus 1,200, you might as well throw a quarter of a unit on that. And then you flip it back and you hit the point or the distance, right? Now you got money. It's all positive. It's all money. And that's the way that sometimes I feel that betting UFC on any sport book, especially with the numbers that FanDuel gave us yesterday, maybe not today, helps us win money. Because even if you go, well, what's the choice? What's the reason of doing that? So again, if you're going to play the knockout and it doesn't happen, you'll get the money, you get the positive money on the points. Now you're going to take, of course, your decision no bet, you'll get your money back. Your decision no bet, you'll get your money back, right? So you get your money on your points, you get your decision money back, and you're fine. Or you just play knockout plus 155 points. It was like a plus 175 or plus 200 or something because they don't think it's going, they slightly think it's going difference, but that was up. Then you go knockout points, Mauricio Rufi, knockout points on Fiziev's side. Whatever happens, you're going to make money. That's how we make you our rich friend. Yeah. All right. I'm taking Fiziev. I'm taking Fiziev, and I love Rufi. If Rufy wins this, I will not be sad. But I feel that the pathway, if Fiziev can get inside, as I said, get those 4 takedowns, then it's golden. And while I go on to my next fight, I will pull up as well too. That I'll pull up the bets so that I can see what the takedowns are for Fiziev, because I have some real stuff when we get to the end of the show for the Volk and the Lopes fight. But you know what? I'm feeling a little crazy. I feel a little like I want to have a little fun. Let's throw out my Monday, Tuesday lineup that I made. Lopes, Brundage, Teixeira, Finney, Elikana, Salkit. Bam, there's a free DK lineup in the middle of the show. That's what we do here. All right, we got the UFC pulled up. We got the main card right here. Let's get down to Fiziev because I want to make sure that we get this. Let's get to the fighter props. Takedowns. Woo-wee. Takedowns landed. Plus 3 takedowns on DraftKings is plus 215. 4 plus takedowns on DraftKings is plus 450. If Rafa wins this by taking down Rufy 4 more times, you heard it on this podcast. That's how we attack slates. Let's move along. We got our guy, Dan Hooker. Versus Benoit Saint-Denis. Ooh, yeah. You can't say Dan Hooker and go, ooh, yeah. You can. You go, Dan Hooker, ooh, yeah. But when you go, Benoit Saint-Denis, ooh, yeah. Just makes you real excited for it, doesn't it? Takes that inner subcockle and goes, whoop, right up there. Right up at it. All right, let's get to it. We all know that Dan Hooker practically got beat down by Sarukian. He looked good. Sarukian always was one step ahead. And then Sarukian said, we're done with you. Out. And that is why you play first and second round action if your sport book allows that. We won that. We won that a lot. Yeah. So, when you get over to the Benoit Saint-Denis side, I'm just going to call him BSD, right? BSD can knock out Hooker. BSD is powerful, and people don't give him credit for it. He's on a roll. And if BSD keeps winning like this, might have to talk a title shot sooner or later. Might have to talk that because he's looked impressive. His impressive win over Rufy by exposing Rufy's ground game, everything, easily. Rufy practically tapped because he was uncomfortable. He was uncomfortable. And that shows the kind of things that happen when you get in those positions, when you're dragged into deep waters, as Dan would say. Now, when we flip it over to the Hooker side, of course, Hooker's only pathway to success, knockout. That's all I'm giving him. Knockout plus 550. I'll throw money on that. Half unit. Bam. Knockout points plus 280. Okay. Bam. Money line distance, no. Plus 375. Bam. Decision, no bet, plus 280. Look, play decision, no bet. Play knockout points. You want to be safe. But his first and second round knockout, you know Hooker is going to try to go after him. Now, I'm going to tell you this. At some point, somebody stops losing or they lose their job. And this could be about that point. But I think that he won't get fired because they like watching Hooker get beat up. But at this point, you got to start moving him down the rankings. He's got to start taking other fighters now. He gets beat, he gets knocked out in this fight. That's not good, especially when he should kind of be a little better with the hands than BSD. It's just BSD got that power. And then he's going to eventually get him down. That's going to be what's going to happen. So let me throw this at you. 3rd minute of round 1 finish for both fighters is plus 950. Also, what I really like about this number is Hooker knockout, BSD by sub. This is a combination bet. Negative 110. I got 2 units on that because I'm going to take the chance that BSD gets that sub and he'll be looking for it. Let's move along to BSD's numbers. We got BSD sub plus 165, knockout sub, negative 130. You know I'm hitting that. hit that with 3 units. I probably got 5 units on it. At this point, I got a lot of units on it because I make so many bets. It's just crazy. I make my initial bets, then I make my bets for the show, and then I make my final bets. But since I'm fighting tomorrow, a lot of my final bets have to go in before that. Moneyline distance, no, -130. Knockout, +430. That tells you that the sports books are, for the most part, pretty close to what's going to happen. They're favoriting the sub. You're going to take the subs. Decision no bet, -400. They think it's going under. Knockout first, second round, +550. Also for BST. And his sub first and second round is up +220. I don't think that this fight sees a third round. So if you can find does the third round start? No. BST win? Or just does the third round start? No. You're good with that, right? And I like all that action right there. Kind of gets it all together. And for me, of course, I'm going to take BSD. And I'm going to be playing the knockout and sub on his side. And I also, for this, BSD has been one of my biggest parlays that I've been using, both finishes and money line. So when all that hits, the subs only Discord at Dr. Roto, you're going to see a lot of BSD. As a matter of fact, he made the 5-tastic picks as well, too, covering that thing. So that's what I want to kind of add to all of that. That's kind of the idea. Hey, man, that's what we do. We want finishes. This fight doesn't go far. Again, this goes back to sometimes people need to just say it with their chest and beat the hell out of somebody. And that's what they need to do. Not outside of the octagon. Let's be civilized, people. But in the octagon, BSD is going to take this. If it doesn't happen, at least you got the knockout points. You got the knockout prop for Hooker. All right. This is where we do our featured fight of the night. But unfortunately, since Dan's unable to give his side of the story, since I took Diego Lopes last time, he was going to take Diego Lopes this time. I got Alexander Volkanovski. Lopes, of course, he's a great fighter. He's in this thing. This is his second shot at the title. Now he's actually the challenger and not one of 2 challengers going for the title. I'll get to his stuff in a second because I have a lot to do with this fight. That's going to happen. All right. Alexander the Great Volkanovski versus Diego Lopes. Volkanovski, the 2-time featherweight champion, 27-4. Man, 13 knockouts, 3 subs, 11 decisions. Knockout and points all day, people. He's had 5 title defenses. He's the second most in title fight wins. Also, he's the first Aussie to win gold. That's awesome. Oldest fighter to also win that as well, too. As a boxer, he's actually 1-0. He beat up a guy named Dylan Bargero. And that showed in their first fight with Diego Lopes that he was faster to the contact points. And when they exited, he exited with a lot of hooks that hit Diego. Diego took those hits. He remembers what it feels like. He's going to be a little more reckless this time. That's not going to work out for him. Or will it? At the age of 12, he started training Greco-Roman wrestling. But at 14, he fell in love with rugby. He went semi-pro for the Gorilla Gorillas. Ooh, yeah! Under that year, he got the Mick Cronin Award in 2010 for Group 7 Rugby's Best Player. The following year, he got the Man of the Match against Gerringong in 2011's premier winning season. That right there has been the driving force of Alexander the Great Volkanovski and why my client is going to defeat Diego Lopes. In Lopez's last fight, as we get to the breakdown, in Lopez's last fight, he was hesitant. If you remember the time when Volk knocked him, they both were wide. Diego had fell into the cage, and Volk immediately shot him. This is a point that next time Lopez needs to come off that cage, or he needs to sidestep. Sorry about that. Going on. Also, because Lopez was fighting a small man's game and not a tall man's game, his stance was extra wide versus Volkanovski. Volkanovski took advantage of this, starting with the leg kicks, which eventually Diego pulled himself back in with his stance. He fixed his stance and started firing back leg kicks at Volk. Go watch the fight. Now, if Lopez comes back out and decides to fight the actual fight that he fought last time, he will lose on the cards. It won't matter because what was happening was he was getting caught flat-footed. Go back to every one of those exchanges that Volk shot forward. Volk is a smaller guy like me. My bread and butter, other than my sidekick being able to stop you, my ability to strafe the wing at my division and age division, gives me an advantage over my opponents. But my speed of my back fist and reverse punch, my blitz, has taken me to another level than they can handle. And I say that for a reason, because when you have that speed and you make that initial contact, and you know you have that speed, it's not saying that Lopez doesn't have hand speed. It's saying that he was caught flat-footed, which I said led to the kicks and led to him taking those initial blitzes. If you purely went back to that fight and you look at how many exchanges that Volk went in or how many exchanges Volk backed out of with landing the more authoritative punch, in a few of Lopez's exchanges with Volkanovski, even though he went first, when he stepped away, he would get hooked, as I was referring to earlier. For the keys to victory for Lopez is to use his power, to use his size, to move, because that's what Volkanovski did to him. Volk moved him around that ring, right? That being said, he has to trust his power when he needs to go for it. There was a couple times that he went for it and missed. When Steven was talking about Lopez, he brought up that it just felt like a few of his punches did not find their mark. And that is because of how good of a boxer, how crisp of a boxer, striker that Volkanovski is. That is why I brought up his boxing record of 1-0. There's always a reason. Everything has to have a reason in our sport, combat sports. That being said, when we get to the numbers, we'll start with the Lopez side. Knockout in points plus 175, knockout in sub plus 175. They're just trying to give you that. So I'm going to play the knockout in points on the Lopez side. Moneyline distance, yes, for Lopez is a plus 546. I got a little crazy, kind of like his second, third, fourth round sub at plus 1300. No one's ever subbed Volkanovski. I threw the lowest amount of bet I could throw in, because if this happens and I get the under, I'm going to be able to play with that. If Diego Lopez can win in 30 seconds by knockout, he gets a plus 800. Sometimes when you get to the main event and you've put all your money in and you've won so much money at this point, you get to have some fun. These are bets that you'll have fun with. The rounds at under 4.5 is perfect if you feel that this fight's going to be a finish. If you think it's going to be a finish, you must be on the Lopez side, and that is a negative 122. Knockout in the first, second, and third round for Lopez is a plus 390. He does not want to go to decision with Volkanovski. I have said it earlier, and I'll say it again. Volkanovski may win and could win the significant strikes again. And if he's as crisp as he was last time on his entries and exits, he will win this fight. Lopez has to knock him out. So, decision no bet on the Lopez side, negative 168. That's actually kind of wild. Also, moneyline distance no for Lopez is a plus 162. And his straight up knockout is plus 310. Now, when we get to the middle, distance no is a negative 134, so you already got the under on that. Knockouts plus 135, sub is plus 460. Let's focus on the knockouts. Let's focus on playing those knockouts on the Lopes side and getting that decision no bet. You'll get a little bit money back if it does go. But do not play that knockout in points as well. If you play one thing on the Lopes side because you're a Volk lover and you want to win a little money and hedge yourself, play knockout points, and you'll be good. That's how you bet, people. That's true genius. Now let's get to the Volk side. Moneyline distance, yes, plus 145. Points alone for Volk is plus 165. Decision, no bet. If he gets a finish, plus 132, that's not bad. I'll throw a unit on that, half unit. Knockout in points for Volk is a negative 130. There were times, especially that when Volk got on top of Lopes that first time and he was ground and pounding him, that got a little hairy right there. That right there alone is why sometimes having knockout points negative 130 is kind of cool, right? Cool. I feel that Volk wants a knockout in this fight. Everybody wants a knockout in this fight. If Volk can knock out Diego Lopes in the third, fourth, or fifth round, it's a plus 1,000. That would cement his legacy and build a statue for Volkanovski. That is how we're running this. Knockout in the first 2 minutes of the fight is a plus 1,600. I just want to see a knockout. So for that, I'm going to put a half unit on that. Half unit. You throw $1 on that and it hits, you win $17. You put 50 cents, you get the math, people. You don't have to put $100 on every bet, especially when you round robin. You round robin, some of the round robins I get, you're making 1,000 bets. Let's see you place $1,100 bets. There's people out there that can, and there's people out there that can't. And that's the way it is. Drawing this fight for some stupid reason, I was talking about 138 on the guys with those guys last night. I feel like you have to have some money. You have to have money on the draw. So let's throw a quarter unit on the draw. Also, knockdowns, one knockdown for both fighters, one knockdown. Do I have to repeat myself, people? One knockdown. Negative 165. If you play one thing on this fight, you don't want to play anything else, play that. Also, two knockdowns is plus 330. I'm throwing units. I already got units on those. Diego Lopes, who did knock down the champion last fight. One knockdown plus 140, two knockdowns plus 600. Those numbers are outstanding. That can happen. Just play one knockdown if you want to be safe, or if it's getting late and you don't want to put up any more money, that's what you do. All right. That's the fight. I'm taking Diego Lopes. Knockout in points is the number I'm rolling with, 175. I'll run back. Sulkid. Knockout, of course. Sulkid knockout. Teixeira. Knockout. That's what we're doing. First and second round knockout. Fazeev. We're going knockout in points. Benoit Saint Denis. Knockout sub. And Diego Lopes. Knockout points, 175. Those are my picks. Let's get to it. Here goes one of my DFS lineups I threw together last night. Make this real fun. BSD, Fazeev. We got Sisley, Lopes, Mikalev, and Malkoun. The Malkoun one gets me, but it was right there, and I didn't want to come down because I already had Rafa. If you go with Roofy in that fight, then you're coming down to somebody else that, might not be as profitable. That's where you have to go to the 5 tastic picks and see who I have in my value play section. Last night, I gave out a no distance prop on 138. I will not give you out the violence prop. That was a plus 552. That's for his show. I told him I would do that. The 138 special is, it's no longer that. It was Batibar, Sisley, and BSD. You could still get no distance on Cesale and BSD. that was going to be an overall plus 241. That's most likely now plus 151. Moving along. If you're now tuning in, the DFS hero lineup was Volk, BSD, Nakamura, Kim, Teixeira, and Finney. DFS targets that are cheap: Lopes, BSD, and Elikana. I think that you need those fighters in your lineups. You can always move off of that. But let's get to it. Let's get to the...
Ooh, yeah, it's time for the cream to rise to the top. You need a comeback heat override. 2 and 3 wasn't good enough.
Hey, Macho, I ain't worried about that. We're going to do the Parlay of Pain. Ooh, yeah. Sungra Longbow. Moneyline, negative 250. Cesarele, distance, no. Negative 156. Fazeev, fight. For both fighters, distance, no. 122. BSD, knockout, sub, negative 130. This is the first time I'll ever give you, this is where I usually switch it up. To complete the 5 legs of parlay and round robin this, people, is Lopes, knockout points plus 175. You want to get, that gives you, let me give you the thing. 1 leg, negative 250. Adding Salazar, 129. Fazeev, plus 410. Brings up to the 4-banger, plus 802. And with the Lopes knockout points, makes it a plus 2389 5-leg parlay. Let's eat, people. And that is why you round robin that. Win some of that money back and you're winning. Now, if you want to take Lopes out, you're on the Volk side. Kind of did that for y'all. The Volkanovski is a negative 135 on knockout and points, right? You flip that and you're going to get a positive 1,469 on that Parlay of Pain. You just got 2 Parlay of Pains for the first time ever on the Fight Club of Pain. It wasn't the same doing this without Dan. I hope everything works out for him. He's got some stuff to do. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to get a text or 2 from him. I know my wife isn't having a great day at work, but it happens. I hope that all of us have a great day tomorrow. I can't wait to compete tomorrow. I'm doing my weapons, and I'm doing my open hand forms. And so wish me luck. Hope to God, bring back some more trophies, have some fun, and then watch the Royal Rumble and UFC 325 with all of you. I want to thank everybody that was part of the show today and actually watched. I know a lot of y'all was scared. I want to throw it back out. Dr. Roto, let's get UFC on SiriusXM Fantasy. Have a great day, everybody, and always remember to bring the pain. Ooh, yeah.
Yo, everybody, it's He Override. So let's get to it.
Bring the
Thanks for
pain!
stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. Until the next visit, be well and take care.